I'd like to spend my few minutes in this debate talking about the financial abuse which arises out of the growing practice of selling newly built houses as leaseholds. There are now over 1 million houses in England and Wales that are leasehold. 15% of new build houses in England are built and sold as leasehold. But in the northwest of England, the latest figures from 2016 show that 69% of newly built houses are sold as leasehold. Many of them in my constituency. That's actually a much higher figure than any other area or region in England. And so the issues that arise out of this are particularly prevalent in the northwest of England. And I have many constituents who have come to me to talk to me about the problems that have arisen out of them buying their dream home as a leasehold and suddenly finding out that it's not what they thought it was going to be. I'd like to talk about two particular estates in my constituency. One, Gateacre Park, and the other, Cressington Heath. Gateacre Park, there are 40 of the properties there sold as leasehold, newly built houses, on 250-year leases. The roads in the development are to be adopted by the local authority at the end of the development, so there are no maintenance charges. In Cressington Heath, homes have been sold on a 999-year lease, and also it's a private estate. The roads are not to be adopted when it's finished, and so there are ongoing maintenance charges that people are being expected to pay into the far future. Now, I have a number of constituents who've come to me to complain that not only were they not aware of the full extent of the issues that, of what a leasehold property meant and the full extent of the ongoing financial obligations, but they were promised that they could buy their leaseholds, or they would have the option to do so. Many of them, having tried to do so, have discovered that they're being charged up to 20 times, even on a long lease like 250 years, up to 20 times the ground rent. So £5,600 has been quoted to people on the Gateacre Park estate, when in reality it shouldn't really be any more than about £2,000. On the other estate in Cressington Heath, people have been given different figures, anything up to £17,500, £12,500, plus of course the freeholders' legal fees, all to escape the escalating ground rents that are being charged. But I welcome the fact, therefore, that the government has decided that it's going to do something about this issue and is going to prevent the sale of new houses as leaseholds. I think that's good. I think that's welcome, although of course it hasn't happened yet, and we await the legislation to see that done, and that the ground rent is going to be a peppercorn. However, my concern is that many of these people, existing freeholders, existing leaseholders, are already being exploited, and to what extent is the government's proposal going to help them? They're stuck in a limbo where they're not able to sell their properties except at a discount, because there's increasing awareness of the problems of buying houses leasehold, and it is affecting the price of properties. I know of constituents who've lost sales as a consequence of them revealing that their houses are in fact leasehold properties. Also, there is an issue which I'd like the government to answer, because I don't believe their proposals deal with an ongoing issue, and that is that freeholders are now increasingly selling the freehold at inflated prices, I think, but nonetheless agreeing to sell the freehold, but importing many of the restrictive covenants into the transfer document. Now, I'm not at all sure that it's lawful under the Leasehold Reform Act actually to do this. There are some technical legal points that have not been litigated, and I'm not at all sure that it's lawful to do it. So I have constituents who are being told that into the far future, even when they are freeholders, they are going to have to pay to get permission to change mortgage provider. They're going to have to pay to get permission to paint their door a different colour. They're going to have to pay to make any kind of alteration to their garden, to their property. That is not a proper freehold. That is finding a way to make sure that the restrictive covenants can be carried on, sold on, and then used to exploit financially the people who have these restrictions in their deeds, whether it's in a lease or whether it is in a transfer document when the freehold is transferred. So I want the government to go further than it said it will go so far and look at banning some of these ridiculous restrictive covenants from being put into transfer documents as well as into leases. If they were to do that, I might be able to welcome their package of measures rather more than I've been able to do so far.